Okay, welcome back to Graphing Part 2. Or this lesson we're going to be doing graphing lines. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about I'm going to just go over real quickly some definitions. So first we're going to talk about what the definition of an equation of a line is right here, is y equals mx plus b. You can also use point-slope form. Both of these can be used to find the equation of a line. To find equation of a line. Now, I will use the slope-intercept form, not the point-slope form. The second thing we want to talk about is the slope, and that is the change in y over the change in x, and the little delta symbol means change in, and that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's also the rise over the run. Okay, and as we've said, that's the change in y over the change in x. And those will come back into play in when we start talking about derivatives. Next, we're going to talk about parallel lines. So that's two lines that are parallel. And the symbol for parallel is parallel lines. And then we're going to talk about perpendicular lines, which are two lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. And so they look like an upside down capital T. And that is their slope is -1 over the slope. So you can flip it. They're negative reciprocals of each other. And they're two lines that look like this with a 90-degree angle right here. All right. Then we have vertical lines. So here's x and here's y. And a vertical line is x equals a. So x equals any number a. And then a horizontal line, here's x, here's y. And a horizontal line is any line y equals b. Now, I have picked mostly word problems to do for these questions because I feel like most students know how to find the regular equation of a line, but they have a hard time understanding how to work the word problems. All right, so first we're going to look at this. A school district purchases a high-volume printer, copier, and scanner for $25,000. After 10 years, the equipment will have to be replaced. If its value at the time is expected to be, $2,000. Write a linear equation giving the value V, the equipment during the 10 years it will be in use. So in other words, at time zero, so that's the time of purchase, it is $25,000. And at time 10, it is $2,000. So that gives us 2 points, 0, 25,000, and 10, 2,000. So we have 2 points, and we need to find the slope. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's 25,000 minus 2,000 over 0 minus 10. And so we have 23 thousand over negative 10. So we have a negative 23,000. Okay? Now, since t0, since t equals 0, we have $25,000. We know the y-intercept. We know the y-intercept. That is that we have the point 0, 25,000. So B equals 25,000. So then we have V of t equals mt plus B. We have V of t equals negative 23t plus 25,000. And that would be our equation. So that would be our final answer. What I'm trying to get you to see is that the y-intercept is always the point 0b. So this is our y-intercept. Okay? So we don't have to actually find the other point because it's given to us. All right, let's go to our next one. So the next question is a cost, revenue, and profit question. And so for the first one, let's give a little information here. So what we need to do is we need to know how to find the cost, the revenue, and the profit. So we need to know that the cost is found by finding the fixed cost plus the variable cost. Okay, and fixed cost is the same thing as the purchased amount. So it's how much you purchased it for. And variable is the cost times the number per item. Okay, and so this is the purchase cost, is the fixed cost, is the same as the purchase cost. And revenue is the price times the number of items. Okay? So then, for part A, now let's read our question. A roofing contractor purchases a shingle delivery truck with a shingle elevator for $42,000. The vehicle requires an average expenditure of $6.50 per hour for fuel and maintenance, and the operator is paid $11.50 per hour. Part A. Write a linear equation given the total cost C operating this equipment for T hours. Include the purchase cost for the equipment. All right, so for part A, we know that the purchase cost is $42,000. And then we're going to have two variable costs. So our variable cost is going to be two different things. We have a variable cost of, so we're going to have our maintenance and gas and that's going to be $6.50 per hour. And then we're going to have our operator. And that's going to be $11.50 per hour. And so if we add those two together, right? So our cost is going to be $42,000 plus 650 T plus 1150 T, which simplifies down to, which is $42,000 plus 18T. All right. So for part B, it says, assuming the customer is charged $30 per hour of machine use, write an equation for the revenue. So you're charged $30 per hour. So then the revenue is 30T. Part C says use the formula profit equals revenue minus cost to come up with a profit equation. So that is 30T minus bracket 42,000 plus 18T so that's going to be, the profit is going to be 30T minus 42 minus 18T so the profit is going to be 30 minus 18 is going to be 12T plus minus 42,000T. Part D says to find the break even. Okay, to find the break even can be found one of two ways. So you can find the break even you can find it by either letting your profit equal 0 or your revenue equal your cost. Well, since we've already found our profit, we're going to say 0 equals 12T minus 42,000. So then 42,000 equals 12T, so then T equals 3,500. All right, now the way I want you to tell me your final answer for all word problems where you have a numerical solution, numerical being a number, is a complete sentence. So after 3,500 hours of use for the truck, comma, or the equipment, a use of the equipment will yield a break-even point for the contractor. All right. The reason why I want you to write your answer in a complete sentence is it shows understanding and it completes the question. It shows me that you understand what the question asked for, and it shows me that you have completed the question. All right, now let's go on to the next example. So, the length and width of a rectangular garden are 15 meters by 10 meters respectively. A walkway of width x surrounds the garden. Draw a visual diagram that represents this problem. So we have a rectangular garden that is 15 meters by 10 meters, and we have x around it. And I'm sitting here in my quilting room making these recordings, and I'm looking around and I'm drawing this thing and I'm thinking, you have a quilt that is so many inches by so many inches and you want to put a border around it that is X wide. Tell me what you're... And I'm thinking, I can turn this question into a completely same question using a quilt. And that's really what's going through my head as I'm writing this down. Okay, so part A is to draw a diagram. Part B says to write an equation for the perimeter of y and x in terms, for y in terms of x. So if I have this outside is going to be 15 plus 2x, and this length is going to be 10 plus 2x. So if I want to write the perimeter is going to be 2 times 10 plus 2x plus 2 times 15 plus 2x. And I would then go on to simplify that to the perimeter is 20 plus 4x plus 30 plus 4x. So the perimeter is now 50 plus 8x. There. All right. Now it says, using the graphing utility, find the equation of the perimeter. So now I'm not going to use the graphing utility. I'm actually going to graph by hand, and then what I said is you can plot using Wolfie, which is Wolfram Alpha. But I'm going to just pick 3 values here. So here's x and y, and I'm going to make an x and y chart, and I'm going to say here's x, and I'm going to pick -1, 0, and 1. And I think I use different numbers, but if I use -1, 0, and 1, and I have y equals 50 plus 8x. So if I use -1, actually let's use -10, 0, and 10. So if I use -10, then I get 50 minus 80, so that's -30. If I use 0, I get 50. If I use 10, I get 50 plus 80, which is 130. All right, so at 0, I'm 50, so I'm going to do it here. At -10, I'm -30, so I'm here. And at 10, I'm 130, but let's just, so this is about right. So I'm really, really steep thing. So let's call this is 10, 130. 0, 50, and -10, -30. And this graph is y equals 50 plus 8x. All right, so that just gives you an idea of what it is. Now, I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go out, pull up Safari, give it a minute, go to Wolfram Alpha, let it load, so it's going to take it a minute. X out of this, back, delete, 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 delete. I want to show you that you can do this. I do allow you to use Wolfram Alpha or Wolfie, and it's kind of funny because a couple of semesters ago, one of my classes named it Wolfie, and I ran into some programmers that work with Wolfram Alpha, and I told them, I said, you know, my class is kind of named Wolfram Alpha Wolfie, and that's what we just kind of call it. And they said, the company actually also calls it Wolfie. And they have a little wolf that they put around, and they call it, the company themselves call it Wolfie. And so, but there's a picture of the graph right there. So if I ever refer to Wolfie in my notes or something, it's because I'm referring to Wolfram Alpha. So, but right here is a picture of the graph so that you can get a good look at what it does. And in the test and on stuff, if you use Wolfram Alpha, you just have to refer to it and tell me that that's what you used. I do expect you to be able to do the algebra at the same time you're doing any of this. So if you were to use Wolfram Alpha to graph it, you would need to say Wolfie used to graph, so that I know. But I would still expect you to show me 3 points or 2 points or whatever I've told you. For a line, I expect to see 2 points. For a parabola, I expect to see the vertex, that sort of thing. So just make sure that you give me what I've told you in the notes, what I expect to see. All right? Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.